Fight, 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 fight.
Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome. Oh, hold on. Am I muted? No, I'm not. I am low, though. Welcome to Lost Planning the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, small law firm in central Minnesota. How's it going, guys? What's shaking? How are you doing? Happy New Year. All of the things, right? What is random hair just sticking up? Okay. Happy New Year to you. It is now 2024, I guess. So that's something. Something. It's this arbitrary day where we decide that the year has changed and things are now something that they weren't before, I guess. And so we're going to talk about it in that way as we get going on the show. I mean, the topics tonight are new year, new you, new US, not us. We've got new laws dropping around the country. Most of them centered around guns. We've got new measures at retailers over anti-theft provisions because apparently something has happened lately and a lot of people are stealing more stuff for some reason. Not quite sure why that would be, but we'll talk about that. We also have the first Me Too of 2024 coming from Paula Abdul during her time on American Idol, I guess. So apparently someone was totally into molesting 60-something-year-old Paula Abdul. We'll get into that story. Read it. I don't know. Maybe she was. Maybe she was being molested by a person. Not sure, but we're going to check that out. Some guy named Nigel, which actually is a strong indicator that she probably was. Like I'm on her side based on the name Nigel. But other than that, I don't know. We'll assess and analyze what's been going on. For the people who don't know, I guess for the start of the show, I'll announce it right now. I mentioned it a couple shows ago, but I am sober streaming for January. It's something some of my friends do, and we're going to try it out for a month. We'll see how it goes. Maybe the show gets good. Maybe the show gets terrible. Don't know. We're just going to try it out, see what happens with that, and should be interesting, I guess. Maybe it'll be fun. I'm not sure. The past two shows were also sober shows. They were pretty decent, I think. I don't know. You guys will have to tell me. I can't tell you. I have no idea. I just sit here and ramble. Will I sneak liquor into red cups? No, there's no point. Why would you? If you're saying you're doing sober streams, why would you sneak liquor? I don't know. I'm sure I'll be accused of it, but that's okay. I don't drink out of red cups. So we'll find out. But anyway, it's always interesting, doing this stuff and making changes because everybody can assume why you make changes and almost no one is right, but that's the way life goes. What the fuck happened here? So I'm looking at my headphone cables. They're all tangled up. I don't even know why. But yeah, so we'll try that out. We'll hit these subjects tonight. There will be a local show and all of that stuff. It's a good time to be, me, I guess. I gotta say, Decembers for me are generally not great, not the greatest. I don't like them. I've talked about this a lot. But the last half of this past December has been some of the best weeks of my life. It was great. A lot of fun, high energy, lots of good activities, lots of good family time, lots of good time with friends, lots of good time with the lady, and what random hair. Go away. And generally, I just, December started off kind of weird and normal. I guess it was actually started off kind of normal, not so weird. And then it just kept getting better and better and better. And it was fantastic. So I hope you guys had a similar experience and going ahead and carrying that into 2024. because 2024 is the next year. Actually, it promises to be an absolute clusterfuck, like really, for the nation, right? Because we're going to have this presidential election. We're going to have these trials over Trump, maybe, or we're going to have the Supreme Court deciding that he has immunity in some stuff, and then they're going to have to decide if that immunity carries over into what he's actually charged with and accused of. We're going to have Trump. 2024 is the year of Donald Trump. If he doesn't get Time Person of the Year, it's going to be kind of surprising. We're going to have to see what kind of Hitler rises for Time to Praise if Trump doesn't win it, because he's probably going to be one of the most, if not the most influential people of the entire year. And it won't even be difficult for him to achieve that. He's already doing it, and he's not even doing anything new yet. So that will be happening. The Epstein names, I guess, have they been released? Are they still being released? That's going to happen. We've got interesting trials coming up. We've got the Courtney Clenny trial. That's the OnlyFans murderer. We're going to see the evolution, I guess, of OnlyFans and online content creators of a prurient nature and where that goes for the country, because it's only been just ramping up and becoming more and more mainstream, more and more popularized, more and more legitimized by the media, by everybody, really. And we're going to see how that impacts things and changes things. I mentioned retail stores having some of their worst theft years ever the past 3 years, and with 2023 expected to be worse than 2022 and 2021. They're taking extreme measures. We're going to be talking about that specifically in a little bit, but seeing how retail shopping starts to change, if it survives at all, what it looks like, how annoying it will be to go in and have to buy groceries. Like every grocery will be like a video game. We have to get some asshole to come up and, unlock the thing and then pull stuff out and get it for you. That'll be fun, like for lettuce and crap like that. But we're going to see all these impacts start to shape up on the home front. We've also got an ongoing war in Ukraine and Russia. I guess it's still there. No one really talks about it that much, except for the Zelensky, when he shows up asking for more money, like, please, sir, I'd like some more. Can I have some tanks? And then we've got this growing issue in Gaza and Israel that's just ongoing. I mean, who knows if that's going to stop? It kind of reminds me of back before it had stopped, when it was constant, but this one seems a little bloodier. And then most importantly, Instagram Reels are going to be filled with more Arabic, Russian, and Spanish videos that involve people getting shot, stabbed, launched off of cars, thrown off of bridges, or otherwise obliterated by equipment in industrial settings. So I'm looking forward to all of it, because what the fuck else can you do? Like, you can't stop any of these things as individuals. Collectively, we can't act at all. The country is so divided and so polarized that the idea of collective action is just gone. It's gone from the concept of the American mind. And I thought it was gone years ago, but now, I mean, it is so far divided, so divisive, so incisive to friendships, to families, to communities, to churches, businesses. And we're going to see the fallout of that, especially going into this next election year, which looks to be a bloodbath. Who knows? Who knows what will spark what? Speaking of sparking things, I do see Kyle Rittenhouse in the chat. How you doing, brother? I hope life is going well for you and things are slowly but surely coming to a close. Guys, make sure and check out Kyle Rittenhouse's book. You can go grab it on Google, order it, get it done. I owe him 10 charity purchases, not charity purchases for other people, 10 books for other people. I haven't done that yet, but I am going to do that and figure out how we can get those out to some people. But that's going to happen. Make sure you grab your copy. Kyle's still embroiled in ongoing legal bullshittery that he does not deserve and should not be involved in. He was acquitted because he was not guilty. More importantly, he was innocent because he used self-defense in the most proper manner we could possibly expect. And all of the narrative and memes about him crossing state lines or whatever all ended up being completely debunked. And yet they still persist on. He doesn't deserve this. He shouldn't have to deal with it. And hopefully 2024 is a year it cleans up. My own lawsuit promises to go sometime into 2024 as we wait on the appeals court to go ahead and issue. I think we have oral argument maybe coming up at some point, and then we'll have to go ahead and issue a ruling on that, and then we'll see where it goes from there. If the lawsuit goes on, it promises to go through all of 2024, so that'll be fun. And then who knows what kind of ethics complaints and other shenanigans and bullshittery I will end up getting into. But it's usually exciting and interesting at some point. That is the way life goes. It's unpredictable. So I'm actually looking forward to it. It's a lot. There will probably be some show changes, maybe to scheduling, actually, at some point coming up here. I'll be talking to Rumble very soon and figuring out what the future looks like of the show. I have some changes I would like to make, but we'll get all that done, and then I will let you know what that looks like. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. This year, hopefully, we'll get some trials, and Courtney Clenny is the big trial. The next trial I want to watch, I think that's in February that I know of. There's also the Trump trial coming up in March in Georgia, if it happens, which is promised to be televised. I have doubts about it happening, but we'll have to see. Other than that, who knows? Who knows what else is on the menu for this show, for the United States, for the world? We just get to be surprised by everything and talk about it as it happens. I do want to get into, in a little bit, talking about kind of what a new year looks like for me in general, and then more specifically to 2024. And just kind of share that. And then we'll get into those new laws dropping around the country. But first, I'm going to read all the super chats that have come in so far, and then we will grab and go. It is the first stream of the year. I'm going to read all chats as they come in as best I can. So, however you want to send them in, go ahead and do that, and we'll try and address them as we go. We're going to have just kind of fun conversational stream with these topics as themes, and then see where the night takes us. And then yet again, locals will have an exclusive live stream after this, and the night will carry on. But I got to tell you guys, my New Year's was awesome. I have had a very short day in some ways and a very long day in other ways. I don't even know when I got to bed. Holy Lord, it was late. We actually hung out here with family and friends here at Shea Ricada. And we did, we just had a good time. Karaoke. We had booze flowing. We had food flowing. I made jambalaya and gumbo. I have some Cajun roots and love making both of those. But if you've never had it, if you mix jambalaya and gumbo, you get jambo, which is perfect. Jambo is fucking perfect. You should definitely give it a shot sometime. Because it's all of the, it's really, they're similar. If you get chicken and sausage gumbo and like a chicken and sausage jambalaya, they're gonna be really similar. But I would recommend having a chicken and sausage of one and a seafood of the other. Mix it up. That broth in the jambalaya, and like the jambalaya rice instead of white rice in the gumbo. Oh my God, it's great. It's so fucking good. I'll probably actually have some on my local stream because it's just good. Damn. I'm so hungry. But yeah, so that was dinner. And man, we just carried the night on and on and on. And then eventually everybody left. And I was with Lady Rackets, and it was just, we got to bed, and it took forever to get to sleep because we were still like wound up from the night. And I woke up sometime like this evening. It was wild. It was a good time though. Very, very fun. Very thankful for that. But man, today has been dragging, even though it has been a short day for me. But it's back to the fucking grind, right? Like everything starts back up tomorrow. So it'll be fun. Good times. But yeah, well, how was y'all's? How was y'all's New Year's? What do people do? We try to make it a point to spend New Year's specifically with our kids. I think we have missed one of those in the past 16 years. I mean, I can only think of one New Year's where we weren't with our kids literally at when the ball dropped or whatever at midnight. We were in Florida. The kids were with my parents, and we were just like in the next city over. But that's about it. Every other time we've been with them. And we try to make a point of that because, well, it's like a tradition or whatever. And so that's what we typically do. So however we end up spending New Year's, we tend to do that. Our kids are there, and if we're going somewhere, we take them with us. So we're usually not out. We don't do the out on New Year's scene. Don't know really, like, again, the one time we did, we were out. It was cool. It was wild. Like, there's a bunch of people, as busy as hell, but typically we are, at someone's house, for that. So I don't know what other people do. Like, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, I assume people go out to like various parties or bars or whatever and just, ring it in. But the one time we had fun the time we were out, but it was very busy and it was very like potentially stabby. So I wasn't sure on that one. But hey, what other people do is up to them. So here we go. Team Ruby, thank you, with a very nice super chat or rumble rant. It says 2024 blessings to you and yours. Thank you for the streams and laughs in 2023. Your streams got me through some difficult days. Thank you for that. Hey, thank you, Team Ruby. And again, blessings to you as you had to separate with your loving pet last year. Malcarion says, it is crazy the amount of Christian moralistic pearl clutching that has been going on Twitter. Viva said the ball drop in Times Square was satanic. People going crazy over that calendar. Tipper is back. Wait, what? The ball dropping in Times Square was satanic? All right. Malcarion says, I also love that Eric July said he was done with the drama, that this year he wasn't going to engage. It lasted like a day before he engaged the drama and call it EVS without saying his name. Well, whatever. Peace to him. It's, you guys, like, that shit is going to be a thing that people do. Like, whatever. It's fine by me. It's fine by me. It, to borrow a phrase from a wise man, it is what it is. We've got Ian Ammons, my granddad, Stanley W. Ammons Sr., died at 1:30 p.m. today. 94 years old, and please toast with me for my granddad, of course. To Stanley W. Ammons Sr., passing away at 94 years old, 94 years of life, an unfathomable change from birth to his final breath, in the life that he lived, in the lives that he created, and in the lives that he touched. May his memory bring good feelings, warm emotions, and fondness far into the future. Cheers to him. Diz Guy says, Nick's going to be sober for the new year. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. Maybe. Why would you sniff glue? I get the reference, but I never understood that. Have any of you guys done that, like huffing fumes, glue, markers? I think in elementary school, we would try and like with a Sharpie, right? Just be like, whoa. And you get that like woozy feeling. I don't know. Never appealed to me. Never appealed to me at all. But I don't know. It's very, very strange. Do people still do that with glue? Like, is that a thing? I don't know. Bougie McFadden says, good stuff, Nick. Glad I got to know you a bit. Good stuff to you too, brother. Let's hang out more in 2024. Peter Klein, my Rumble contract has not expired. Maybe that's why. I don't know. You can figure that out. Ina Mers says, I have watched Hoarders and felt better about my house. Same goes for seeing people invested in your sobriety, keeping you raggets. Fuck everybody and their weird opinions. Who said anything about sobriety? I'm doing sober streams for January. We'll see what happens after that. But, oh my God. Everybody, again, this is a fun thing on the internet where everybody claims to know everything because they see a small portion of life. But it's good. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Laura the Kino says, I like my catfish fried with motor oil and TF2. Well, that's disgusting. Have fun with that. Chop Sagi says, I do appreciate that you're looking to ditch YouTube for your stream, but you know that if your stream goes over 4 hours, Rumble can't process the full stream a day later. First world problems. That is actually interesting. I did not know that they can't process the full stream a day later. I thought it took a little while, but I didn't think it took over 24 hours. So I'll see if I can talk to them about that and see if they have plans for the future. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't had the opportunity to actually flesh everything out with them. It's kind of hard to talk like big business negotiation, big for me, not for them, I guess, but like doing these negotiations and discussions over Christmas time. Everybody's busy. People are gone. People are on vacation. It's not the best time to do it. So we'll figure it out hopefully this month and then see where we go from there. Entropy 93 says, what up, Nick? Looking good. Hey, thanks, brother. 2024 is definitely going to be a dumpster fire, but I'm oddly feeling optimistic about it, wishing everyone a good year. Dude, me too. Me too. It's a strange thing to see the world kind of crumbling around you, but to be optimistic about the things that, have direct influence on you and that directly impact your life. Obviously, the global issues can really come crashing down on anybody and everybody. But usually, like the global changes are, I don't want to make light of them, but they're more minor in the scheme of our regular lives. Outside of direct law changes that impact you, like maybe a new gun law that we're going to talk about, that could be something, or the legalization or illegalization of various things, changes to schools and stuff like that. Most big stuff that happens is big on a macro level, but on the micro level, it doesn't change our day-to-day lives that much. The things that do change our day-to-day lives tend to be business-related, interpersonal relationships, family stuff, friend stuff, church and community stuff. Those things tend to really impact us a lot in how we go about our day. And for me, 2024 is looking pretty good on that front. Now, it could all come crashing down tomorrow. I have no idea. But just the prospect of it, I'm feeling really good. And that's a message that people should maybe kind of take to heart. And Lady Raggets and I were doing we had a Bible study group for married couples a while back, right as COVID was about to hit. Actually, we were in it. And one of the key sort of themes of it, it was specifically for married couples, and really for married couples who'd been married a while was the ideal person. We were some of the youngest. We had been married 15 years, I think, and we were like one of the youngest married couples there. But the idea was to draw a circle around yourself and work on everything inside the circle, because that's what you can actually control. It was about this concept where people are constantly trying to change their partner. They're constantly trying to change the people around them, but you can't change them. You can change you. You can work on what you do. And that's a similar theme to how people, I think, should approach New Year's, political positions, stuff like that. Like, you can only really work on stuff you actually can influence. And that's a pretty small thing, generally speaking. So do that and find ways to set goals within that. And then when you achieve them, not only is it satisfying, but it's also beneficial to you directly. And you have a much better chance of achieving stuff by working on what you can control versus what you can't. If you're constantly looking outside of your sphere of influence and wanting things to go a certain way, you'll be disappointed a lot because they're not going to. But you can find a lot of satisfaction in just making yourself and your own life better. And sometimes you get to bring other people along for the ride, and that's cool. So get into that. And I'm going to have less like really gay talk about New Year's and resolutions and shit in a minute. Almost done with it. And then we'll get into the main topic of this new laws hitting. But really, I don't know, this is just like the day to talk about that shit. We've got Stephanie D says, we had gumbo and I made boudin egg rolls with pepper jelly. So good. Sounds delicious. Boudin egg rolls. Ooh. I don't even know how that would work. Did you just like take a boudin sausage and wrap it up in an egg roll wrapper? Or did you like did you like break down the sausage and put in a bunch of other bullshit like cabbage and stuff like that? Either way, it would be delicious. Lounge King says you should play Steamboat Willie. I think actually I shouldn't, because I'm pretty sure Kurt tried that, and I'm pretty sure that Kurt got struck on it, which is bullshit. But I think he did. I think he did. I got to check into that. I think he tweeted something about it. Master Lion says, I was working, finished preparation for the tax season, got home late. Kids are playing games on their computer, wife asleep, me, some whiskey, and Susie, I think sushi probably, then bed. Happy New Year to you and your family and to everyone in chat. Hey, you too, brother. You too. All right, here we go. Let's get into this subject here. Pull up the damn stories. So this is from The Guardian. The Guardian has just a new gun safety laws taking effect around the United States. So this will be great. Kurt got struck like 3 times for playing Steamboat Willie. Perfect. Absolutely. It's the like number one news story about public domain works. It's the one thing everybody's been waiting for, and it happened officially today. And then they're like, oh yeah, we're still going to strike you. That's why it's a fucking risk to play anything. It's a fucking risk to play anything on YouTube at all. And it's really a shame that YouTube works that way, because you can make shows a lot better without having to tiptoe around every fucking subject that exists. But that's the way they do it. All right, here we go. New gun safety laws take effect around the U.S. after over 650 mass shootings in 2023. And I always love this headline. I know you guys do too. Do you remember the 650 mass shootings in your news story? Do you remember those? All 650 of those mass shootings that happened? Remember those like news stories? All the shit that we saw. You remember their names, right? And like all the championing. Oh, wait a minute. That has nothing to do with what we typically think of as a mass shooting. They're using the colloquial of mass, or well, they're using the technical term mass shooting, but they're trying to colloquialize it to present a scare. But mass shootings have a very specific definition, but it changes depending on who you're talking to. Who knows? Let's see if they even explain what definition of mass shooting they use. New gun safety laws are taking effect in several states around the U.S. on 1 January after the country ended 2023 with more mass shootings than days. I mean, quite a few more according to your thing, but in reality, how many mass shootings? There's Uvalde. There was, I remember Uvalde. There's got to be like a couple more big ones. Were there like 3 or 4 that like really hit national news? It was not, there's a private school in Tennessee. There's Nashville, Maine. You can only remember one? Well, yeah. It's like I don't pay attention to the stories that much because they're not that important in the grand scheme of things. The odds of you dying in a mass shooting are, really, really low. It's exceedingly low, actually. And the fact that our country focuses so much on them is, it's because they're horrifying. They're terrifying events. You're always scared that you'd be out at some thing and someone pops off and starts shooting everybody. But it really doesn't happen with any amount of actual frequency when you consider how often people are out in large groups. Let's see. States including California, Illinois, and Colorado are starting the year by implementing extreme risk protection orders. So is Minnesota, actually, more commonly referred to as red flag laws as means to prevent further gun violence. I want to know if these have ever prevented gun violence at all. There's no way to actually gauge it. There's no way to actually measure because it's pre-crime, right? Every red flag protection order prevented gun violence because a crime doesn't occur after the guns are taken away. But we don't know that a crime would have occurred. Someone just says it. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there were 655 mass shootings in the U.S. in 2023. Oh, I'll pull that up. Let's see if they have a nice list of how they measure them. Here we go. We're gonna see. Oh, this will be good. This has the evolution of gun violence from 2014 on. So mass shootings in 2014, 272. Mass shootings in 2015, 332. You guys remember all these, right? 383 in 2016. 2017, a nice dip, 347. 335 in 2018. That was a good year. Let's see. 2019. Oh, shit. Mass shootings, 414. What's way worse? Mass murders is 31. Oh, okay. What are these? Those are number of incidents reported and verified, I guess, is the footnote there. So we've got 2020 mass shootings, 610. 2021, 689. That was more than this year. We did better. We did better this year than in 2021. 2022, 646, and then 656 in 2023. So that's what we've got. They, of course, don't actually have the, I guess you could go to the methodology here, but they don't actually have what constitutes a mass shooting. Here we go. So here's an idea of a mass shooting. We can start to suss out what it's going to be 4 injuries. Looks like is what they're going to talk about. 4 injuries in a mass shooting. So we've got December 31st, South Carolina, Little River County or city or whatever. Victims killed 0, 4 victims injured. So now we know that that's what a mass shooting is basically going to be. I don't know if they do 3, but 4 is kind of a common one that is used. 1 victim killed in California, in Hawthorne, California on December 31st. Charlotte, North Carolina, 5 injured. 0 dead, 2 dead in Colorado. So now we see what mass shootings actually look like according to the data, and it's this number here. The ones we actually get reported. Well, let's go with victims killed as the top results here. Let's go back. So here we go. These are the type of mass shootings we actually think about. Lewiston, Maine has 18. Monterey Park, California has 11. Allen, Texas has 8. I think is that Uvalde? Or is there a different one? We've got 7 in Half Moon Bay, California, 7 in Utah, 6 in Austin, 6 in Goshen, California, 6 in Coldwater, Mississippi, 6 in Nashville. This was widely reported. That's the one with the Tranifesto. Henrietta, Oklahoma has 6, 5 in Cleveland, Texas, Clinton, North Carolina, 5. Now, not all of these are going to be those mass shootings either that we typically associate, because a mass shooting can involve a family group. It can involve a drug deal. It can involve any sort of concept out there, any type of relationship. It is not always the random violence that we're led to expect when we hear the words mass shooting. And that's why I have a big problem with how they report these incidents. Most of these things don't register on the radar of the nation. You don't hear about most of these incidents, or maybe if you hear about some of these incidents, it's in one blurb in one spot and that's it. And you never hear about it again because If it's gang related, they're not going to talk about it. If it's a family thing, like, dad comes home and shoots everybody, or angry stepdad, whatever, shoots everybody, they don't really report on those things that often because they happen. They're not overly horrifying in the grand scheme of things because they're not very likely to happen to anyone else. And it's not like, look, if you have some crazy family massacre, for whatever reason, people think, well, that will never happen in my house. But if I go to a mall, I might get shot up by, some crazy guy, right? Like, that's the thought process that goes into this stuff. And that's why the news doesn't really focus on it. Those stories don't sell very well, but the stories like Nashville and Uvalde sell really well because they're awful. They're just pure evil acts. All right, we got a couple more chats here. Ellie Fan says, Happy New Year. Here's your first Why Are You Gay of 2024. Well, look, I was born that way, like Lady Gaga. Mega Mobass, longtime viewer, longer time drunk. How you doing, buddy? I've been through a lot, been through the rehab process. I genuinely worry about your health and a predisposition to drinking. Please take care of yourself. I hate seeing the implosion. Oh my God. Dude, message me. I'm not gonna bog down the stream with this, but if you genuinely are worried about my implosion of drinking, just message me. All right. Kylos Rex, Nick, glad to see brother happier. Glad to see brother happier. YouTube shows me when you're live. Oh, glad to see you, brother. Happy YouTube shows me when you're live. Since I got engaged to an amazing woman while you were away, missed you and your schnoz. P.S. My New Year's resolution just came to me, getting involved in my community. Cool. Get it. Make 2024 great. Carson87 says, mass shootings skyrocket in 2020. What else is going on in that time again? A certain fiery but mostly peaceful protests. I remember seeing huge shootout vids between urban youths in Minneapolis with automatics too. Yeah, the Summer of Love was great. And they didn't report too much on the violence, but that's again, that's how it goes. Certain people, groups are not consistently reported for violent acts, but hey, that's how they do it. Can't control the media. You can only control where and how you get your information and how you discern that info. In California, a law signed by the Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom prohibits people from carrying concealed guns in 26 places, including public parks and playgrounds, churches, banks, and zoos. The law prevailed after a federal court suspended an injunction issued by a judge who concluded the state's law violated the right of citizens to keep and bear arms under U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment. So federal court suspended this injunction. The injunction was placed because none of this makes sense under Bruin, and we'll have to see how the Supreme Court decides to clarify and implement Bruin, because the appeals courts in different circuits are not actually at all consistent in this. Chicago or Illinois, I guess, is a huge example of how this is being differently implemented around the country. But we'll see how that develops. Chip Tesson says, on January 4th, 2023, a familicide occurred in Enoch, Utah, United States, when 8 members of a single family consisting of 3 adults and 5 children. Okay, so there you go. That's that one. Another mass shooting that is not reported as what we would consider colloquially a mass shooting. Familicide is a thing that happens, and it's awful, results in multiple deaths and children dying, of course. But it's not a shooting at a mall or a school or a movie theater. And they want those numbers included in that to add to the scare tactic. But banning guns is not going to stop familicide, however you say that. They're not going to stop that because that's not that type of incident. Mullenlabe 1371 says the Goshen, California shooting was gang related. There was 16-year-old teen mom and 1-month infant executed. Damn. Kate C, aka Snake Plush Kitten, how many mass shootings were only in Chicago? I can maybe check. City. There we go. Put it in alphabetical order. And let's take a... Charlotte was popular. 1, 2, 3, 4 in Charlotte. All right. Let's check the Chicago list. So here's Chester, Pennsylvania in the top. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. I think does Chicago Heights count 35? 35 of them. Just the 35, though. Just the 35 mass shootings in Chicago alone. And I didn't look at any of the sub. I mean, you could have Aurora, you could have, the surrounding the surrounding area could have been worse. All right, here we go. Thank you. That's a good question. All right, so in Illinois, a law will go into effect on Monday, that's today, that bans the sale of many types of semi-automatic assault weapons, including AK-47s and AR-15 rifles, and magazines with more than 10 rounds for rifles and more than 15 rounds for handguns. The law was passed following the deadly mass shooting in Highland Park, Illinois in 2022. This is great, of course. And the appeals court of the whatever circuit Chicago's in 11th, I can't remember. They've upheld this. This is staying unless the Supreme Court takes it up, and I don't know that they will. I think they may have allowed this, well, at least the injunction to stand. We have to see how the challenge goes through. Notably, these laws have overcome a slate of lawsuits from pro-gun groups across several states. Gun rights advocates have been challenging the legislation through the courts, relying on a Supreme Court decision in 2022 that expanded gun rights by striking down a New York gun law that's brewing. And again, let me just do my little soapbox here. You cannot expand gun rights. Gun rights are actually the maximum. Anything is an infringement on gun rights. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It is impossible to expand beyond shall not be infringed. All gun rights are supposed to be at the zenith, at the zenith at all times. And anything that happens should be a reduction of gun rights. You cannot expand that which is uninfringible. But it's constantly put that way. It's constantly put that way as if the government is allowing us our rights rather than recognizing that those rights exist. Talking Trash and Truth says, Happy New Year. May you find peace, prosperity, and joy and abundance this year. Thank you for being you. I count on it more than you know. Be blessed. Hey, back to you, Talking Trash and Truth. Happy New Year to you. And I hope it is a better year than 2023. Philip Booty says, Nick, you should bring Mandy K on to shut the Kiwi farmers up for good. Prove them wrong once and for all. I have no interest in doing any of that, but thank you. Also taking effect on Monday is a Washington state law imposing a 10-day waiting period on firearms purchases. The law intends to create a buffer between people in crisis and a firearm. It will also require all gun buyers to show they have taken safety training. And again, I would love to know statistics on this. I would love to know stats on this shit. Where are we finding that people are buying a gun in crisis and then going out and murdering a set of people? Legally purchasing a gun and then within 10 days murdering anybody. I just have my doubts. Maybe I'm crazy on that. But to me, it seems like it's more likely to punish people who become in fear for a specific circumstance and want to very quickly get a chance to defend themselves. Now they have a 10-day waiting period. I think that is a much more likely impact of that bill than a 10-day waiting period on someone who wants to go mass shoot people. But again, it's all pre-crime. It's all thought crime. It is all this idea. All of this idea that if they don't do something, a mass shooting will occur in this situation, which is just not fucking true. But alas, we go on. The measure is part of a package signed in April 2023 by Governor Jay Inslee, which included a ban on sale of certain semi-automatic rifles, clearing the way for lawsuits against gun makers or sellers in certain cases. And this is just great. definitely need to add liability to gun manufacturers and gun retailers. The purpose of this, of course, is to either drive those companies out of business, because of course they will also come with difficulties insuring those companies, or their insurance policies will go through the roof. Finally, because imagine the payout, right? Imagine the payout if you sold the gun that was used in Newtown, Connecticut all those years ago. How do you compensate the, what was it, like 26 families or something like that? How do you pay? How do you begin to pay for all of those children's deaths as an insurer? So, easier option is just to not sell that insurance to gun retailers or manufacturers who might be found liable for doing that business. And if you do that, then the gun companies will just have to stop doing business, or one lawsuit will clean them out entirely. Or in the alternative, they have to massively increase price to cover their increased cost. And that's the goal, isn't it? That's the goal. Price the guns out of the market. Go ahead and price the guns out of the market. That way you don't have to worry about actually regulating the guns. That way you don't have to worry about getting around that pesky Second Amendment. If you could just open up a liability for these things, one mass shooting will clean them out. Imagine a domestic shooting. Every domestic shooting. Well, you didn't do your due diligence, I guess. You sold a gun to someone who represented something. Now you're sued because they bought a gun from your store. Well, stop selling guns. Because what else are you going to do? You can't pay for the shit. Imagine if, I guess Walmart sells some guns, but it's mostly hunting rifles. Just any large retailer that sells handguns. I can think of like Runnings. Runnings is a farm and fleet store around rural Minnesota, several locations. Imagine anyone who buys a handgun from Runnings and then goes and shoots someone with it. If you've got multiple locations, each location amplifies the possibility of that happening dramatically. You get a couple lawsuits, millions of dollars in payouts. What are you going to do? They always involve a death. Like that's going to be the suit, or some crippling injury. Payout's always going to be massive if they're found liable. So stop selling guns. You just have to. Mega Mobas says, sent you a DM on Discord, been around before Soder was Snaj. I remember one time you called me a drunk on Live Chat Wednesday because I was one, turntables and so on. Hell, I remember when you didn't swear. Yeah, me too. That was tough. Because I always have. Like, I've always sworn a lot. I just didn't do it on the show for a little bit. Maybe we'll do bonus non-swearing streams at some point. That sounds fucking great. In Colorado, a new law that bans so-called ghost guns, or those that can be made at home using part kits, which typically lack a serial number, will go into effect this week. Pro-gun groups filed a federal lawsuit against Colorado Governor Jared Polis, who claiming the law restricts the Second Amendment right of gun owners who want to use guns for personal use. And again, how do you ban someone from just making their own thing? It's illegal to use a gun to shoot someone. Why would it be illegal to make one and not shoot someone? The U.S. has grappled with the rampant gun violence for decades. Guns were the leading cause of death for children and teens in the country in 2022. While the number of gun suicides reached an all-time high, 73 people died by gun suicide every day. Wait, what does that have to do with any of this? What does that have to do with any of this? So now, are we justifying this with suicides? Do they think people won't off themselves without a gun? Is that what's going to happen here? Oh, they don't have a gun. So, well, I guess they'll just change their mind then. I don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's how depression and suicide work. Now, they may attempt it in a different way and possibly be more likely to fail, but there are a lot of ways to off yourself other than a gun. I just don't think that that's going to solve that problem. Maybe they should look into why people are killing themselves. Maybe they should work on the mental health of the country instead of just dumping SSRIs into everybody's fucking drinks. Like, feel like it's a fucking SSRI roofie in America right now because everybody's getting on them all the time. It's like, well, this will solve it. And it doesn't actually solve it. And shockingly, SSRIs are linked to tons of those major mass shootings. I think only all of them that we hear about. So where on earth do they get the idea that this is going to stop the mental health crisis? Like, oh, they're going to just live in a mental health crisis without shooting. Well, they can't shoot themselves, so they'll live in misery, the same misery that they're trying to escape. They're just going to go on with that. It's like, well, I don't have a gun. I guess fuck it. I'm just going to keep going. Bridges exist, man. Like buildings exist. Everything exists. Death finds a way, right? The mass shooting at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in Las Vegas in 2017 remains one of the deadliest gun violence events in history, with 60 killed, more than 850 injured. I don't think the 850 injured were injured by bullets. I think a lot of them were injured by trampling and other stuff. But 2023, 18 people were killed and 13 others were injured during a spree shooting at 2 locations in Lewiston, Maine. The gruesome event last year reignited efforts by advocates and lawmakers for firearm safety measures to prevent another tragedy, but many politicians still refrain from adopting large-scale reforms. The cold shoulder. You will not prevent another tragedy with a law. You will not prevent another tragedy with a law. It's not going to happen. There are cars, there are trucks, there are explosives, there are gases, there are fires. There is any number of ways for tragedy to occur. A law will not stop it. It just won't. Tragedies have occurred. They're not tragedies, actually. My good friend Larry Blydner, he talked about this a while back. It's not a tragedy. It's the wrong word. It's an atrocity. Because an atrocity is a man-caused disaster. A tragedy is something that happens. They always want to take out the human element from these events. They want to take out the instigator, the actor, the trigger puller. They want to take out the reality that someone decided for some reason or just general evil purpose to pull a trigger and shoot anybody. It's always got to be passive. It always has to be related to the gun. That is how the reporting on this is always done. That's how the congressional talks about this are always done. Everything is as if no one has agency. But once a gun is in play, for whatever reason, people just cannot stop shooting. But it is not a tragedy, and it is not without agency. There is always agency in every event. They choose this. A person chooses this. But if they agree that a person is choosing to do this, then they have to consider that there's an underlying reason. They have to consider that something about the world or something about the community or situation that this person is in has influenced them to the point where they now think to shoot. And that's an uncomfortable thing for them based on what it might be. What it might be often has some overlap with political agendas, may have overlap with governmental exercises of some sort, or it just gets into the general misery that many people can find themselves in, the lack of help finding themselves out. And I do not mean government programs, because a government program is a lack of help in finding your way out of misery. For evidence of that, just look at how many people have been helped out of misery by the government rather than persisting in that misery for a very, very long time. If they have to confront the reality that their solutions are never solutions, that their solutions cause and perpetuate problems, then they have to admit that liberty is a better system. And they have to admit their own ineptitude. And they have to invalidate their own existence in the position with the power and the money that comes with it. It cannot be humans causing this. It has to be objects that they can ban. Because they want control of people. They can control their objects. They can control their ability to access things. They can eventually control how they view things, and they can eventually control people pretty dramatically. And they've done it for well over a century. So here we go. The cold shoulder attitude and political inaction poses a striking difference from other countries that have banned assault weapons after a single mass shooting, including Norway and New Zealand. Again, comparing the United States to any of these countries is futile. In 2023, the U.S. marked more than 18,800 gun deaths. Those aren't murders, ladies and gentlemen. 36,200 gun injuries and over 24,100 suicides, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Oh, that's it. What? That's your closing line? Like, there's nothing else about that? Well, that wasn't very helpful. Where's your conclusion on that? Where's anything? That's just numbers. All right. Okay. Good Lord. Of course, the interesting thing in comparing the United States to any of these other countries, New Zealand, Norway, is, first of all, we have a massive difference in population in general. Second of all, we have a massive demographic disparity between those countries. Third of all, we have a massive geographic disparity between those countries. And finally, we have a different approach to a lot of things. It has nothing to do with guns at all. It has a lot to do with how government treats different groups, how government treats different activities, how regulated business is versus not regulated. We have a lot of problems caused specifically by policy that no one wants to address. But really, when you get down to it, and this is the unfortunate thing, we have created in the United States, knowingly, a black market on drugs. Let's be honest about it, straight up front. If you want to know where the majority of gun violence comes from, you're talking about drugs. It's half of the violent crime, at least in every metropolitan area. It has to do with the black market that the United States has created due to unreasonable prohibitions of various substances. Now, look, you can be opposed to those substances. It doesn't matter. The idea, though, that we went to war on drugs in the 80s, and it has persisted and not gotten any better. We are losing this war harder than fucking Australia to some birds. Or was that New Zealand? I think that was Australia. It doesn't matter. We are losing the war on drugs because it's not a legitimate war. The efforts to police the drug problems in the United States have nothing to do with actually ending drug problems in the United States. Has everything to do with filling prisons, has everything to do with feeding the coffers of police departments, of law enforcement, and justifying politicians' policies and political talking points ad infinitum into the future. Am I saying drugs are good? No. But I am saying that liberty suggests that people do have autonomy over their bodies, including what they put into them willingly and knowingly. And for some reason, there's this set of things that the country has decided people are not allowed to make that decision on. And when they did that, they created a black market because people like those things, right or wrong, and will continue to do them no matter how illegal they may be. When that happens and you create a criminal market, you create literal criminal enterprises. We only saw this directly during the prohibition of alcohol, when organized crime was basically invented in the United States and propagated around really the world. As that expanded into, as alcohol was returned, but expanded into drugs, we have seen the creation of street gangs. We've seen the propagation of drug cartels down in Mexico and other Central and South American countries. We have seen the flow of drugs into the United States increase, not decrease, increase in all situations. And the violence around it only increases year after year after year. And every time we're like, man, if we could just fix this problem, you can't. You can't fix it so long as the substances are illegal, because as long as you have the black market, you will have a criminal enterprise delivering it. You cannot get people to stop doing a thing they like, get addicted to, and crave by a law. We saw it with alcohol. We see it with cigarettes. They're not banned, but they're regulated, but they don't go away. They never go away. People will continue to find them. They will seek them out. And if they cannot find them, they will seek out making them or creating an alternative. They will become less and less safe. They will cause more accidental overdoses. They will be loaded with other substances. They will be mixed up with things, and everybody will be Matthew Perry floating in a fucking hot tub. All because politicians want to get reelected on talking points. Law enforcement wants to justify a bunch of overtime, a bunch of unnecessary training, a bunch of unnecessary equipment, a bunch of stupid dogs that are bullshit. And they really, really, really like those headlines. And none of it at all is linked to fixing a drug problem in the United States. Not a single thing. And none of it has been effective. It's amazing. Except in one area, it has been very effective. It has increased the amount of violence in urban centers dramatically. And that will not change so long as this is the policy of the United States on these substances. Now, I don't know the answer. Like the libertarian answer in its pure, unadulterated, utopian form would be legalize everything tomorrow. And I just don't think that's the right move. I never have. I've always thought of a fully legalized controlled substance policy, like a libertarian policy, as a multi-year stages sort of approach. I don't know how you could just legalize everything in the United States and not have a fucking disaster on your hands. But the more I think about it, maybe that is the way, because I don't know why releasing it in stages would be better. I don't know that weaning off of drug prohibitions is the proper answer. I'm not sure how that goes. I do know that the system we've had in place forever isn't working. So why are we continuing it? It's only been, 30 years? 40 years? It's been 40 years. $40 years of not solving this problem and making it worse. Okay. Maybe we should keep trying. Maybe we should keep trying. Savage Gerbil says, when's the last time a bar was firebombed for switching beer distributors? Good question, right? Good fucking question. Jay Frith 279 says, drugs are fun. I admit, but they don't contribute to a functional society. Well, no, they don't. But the war on drugs has not contributed to a functional society. That's so much, by the way, is fun and doesn't contribute to a functional society at all. But the goal of government is not a functional society. The goal of government is providing for the common defense. That's what government is for. Government is for defending people. That's it. A functional society, I mean, I guess that's a desirable outcome of the society itself. But that's not the role of government. If you start saying government has to provide a functional society, then you start giving into the idea of central planning. If we want it to function, we have to make it function this certain way and this certain way and this certain way. And as we move towards that, we see that society doesn't actually become better at functioning, does it? Do people think society now is more functional than it has been in the past 50 years, 100 years? Are we more stable now or less stable? Are we more functional now as there has been more planning involved? So there's been more regulation and more control. Are we less functional? I think it's a pretty solid statement to say that it's less functional today than it has been. But I don't know. That's the whole presentism problem, is like we think of things now as being the pinnacle of where they could be in any category because we're in them. But I can't imagine now being much better than at other points in history. And I can't imagine it being worse. So I don't know. I don't know how you, and I don't know how to solve it, right? To me, my answer is always liberty. Like, well, let's try out the whole like original idea of like freedom. We could just give that a shot, maybe. I mean, it worked and then it didn't, I guess. So they decided to not have liberty anymore. We just decided that was okay. But that's weird. Why don't we just try going back? Everybody's like, that's crazy. It's like, why is it crazy? Why is it so insane to suggest that maybe letting people be free is the right answer? Have you ever wondered that? Like, whoa, why would we do that? I don't know. Why wouldn't we? That's my question. Why wouldn't we do that? All right. The squid says one of two things would happen if the government does what's right and legalizes all drugs. Either the government price gouges everything and the cartels still function, or the government stops and crime slows down. Correct. And we know what the likely outcome would be. It'd be the first one, right? They price gouge everything, and then the black market still exists and that's what's going to happen with guns. If they price guns out of the market, the existing backlog of or backstock of guns that individual owners have becomes exceedingly valuable because they can undercut the retail market. Zachary Keith Hasbrook says, I hope Alyssa Clips makes $1 million. Yeah, me too. Go get it, girl. But yeah, it's amazing that we're gaslit into believing that the liberty perspective is the crazy perspective, that letting people make their own choices is crazy. And all the evidence we're presented as to why it's crazy would suggest that controlling choices of people has not produced good results. Why? How has that been an effective argument forever? Because it is. Everybody believes that we have to control these things. I mean, imagine saying that you should be able to buy fentanyl over the counter. You should just be able to go buy it. Like aspirin, Tylenol, or whatever. That's crazy, right? That's an insane proposition. They say, but it's a fentanyl problem. Wait, there's a fentanyl problem. You can't buy it over the counter, and there's a fentanyl problem, right? Why is that? So the evidence of controlling the purchase of fentanyl, well, and of course, fentanyl only exists because of the control of opioids in general. Generally regulating opium at the start and then going ahead and as each progression of the concentration of opium has become popular, regulating that. We've developed now the most potent bullshit we could possibly come up with, and it kills people right away. Like, wow. So what's the argument that says that controlling it is better? We haven't seen it uncontrolled at all. We've no idea what liberty in pharmaceuticals just by themselves looks like. We only know what the controlled outcome is, and the controlled outcome is universally regarded as a problem. It's not the strongest argument to me that liberty is bad, but we accept it every single day. See, we've got LG Frey says, hey, Nick, can I have a toast for my daughter born just before midnight So still hit New Year's Day. Yes. I've got a Dr. Pepper here. Drugs aren't neutral and we end up paying for their crimes and care. You already do, brother. You already do pay for their crimes and care. Do you think that you think it's less now or more? By the way, if they weren't crimes, you wouldn't be paying for their crimes at all. Do you think you'd be worried about people stabbing people over heroin or whatever if they could just go buy it? So you eliminate the crime problem, you're not paying for that. You eliminate the care problem. Well, you won't eliminate the care problem. The care problem is going to exist either way. You either choose to care for people or you don't. But everybody buys their own health insurance now, right? And I think all of them have an option for behavioral health and addiction issues. So we're all mandated to buy that. You're already paying for it. I don't get it. To LG Frey, a toast to your daughter, born just before midnight. What a fantastic way to end 2023. What a hopeful promise for 2024 and beyond. May her birth continue to be healthy for her mother, and may she bring much joy to your family, many surprises, and many new adventures. Cheers to you and the health of your family. All right. There we go, guys. That is the YouTube portion of the show. We are going to go ahead and pop over to Rumble exclusively. Thank you so much. Since I was just keeping up with the YouTube chats, they've all been read already as they came in. I will see you guys over on Rumble, and we will continue over there. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. If you do not follow us, I didn't pin the chat with the link to Rumble, but the link to the Rumble stream is in the description on YouTube if you want to come over there and hang out with us for the rest of the show. We're going to play a little transition stinger, and then I will run to the bathroom, and then we will be back and we will keep going. I will see you guys tomorrow as well. Thank you, C. Goody. Thank you, C. Goody. Got the message pinned now, so you can follow that if you need to. I will be here tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. I believe Friday I will not be having a show. That's not confirmed yet, but just kind of want to warn people about that. Friday is likely not going to have a show, but I will announce when I know for sure that that's the case. And we will go on. But all the other days this week, we will be having a show. We should be moving back to the 11 o'clock time. I'm not a big fan of the 11:30 start time, but I'd fallen asleep and I needed a little extra time to take a shower and get some stuff put back together in my office. So we should be moving back to the 11 o'clock start time tomorrow. Hope to see you there and hope to see you over on Rumble. Until then, peace. Peace.